25, our dad passed away. He passed away of pancreatic cancer.
This is the happy part of the story. Ben telling the cancer part of this.
So he passed away from pancreatic cancer. He died, I think, 28 days after diagnosis. That cancer is a bitch. It's like there's nothing like it. I remember talking to the doctor in the hallway, and the doctor's like, well, I got to go talk to a patient I may have a chance at saving. Good luck with this. And that's not really what they say, but that's what you hear, right?
The story's getting worse.
Right. But it's been a long time since then, and what you guys need to know is that I have a very small family. It's only 5 people in our family.
They're all little people.
No, they're not. They're not little. It's a little in number.
Oh, yeah, size. Yeah.
So we have a very small family, and so when our dad passed away, it was a total curveball, like out of nowhere. Nobody could have planned for it. And to step up for him, my older brother, who was further along in his career, was like, hey, man, he kind of picked up the mantle for the family. And he's like, I'll be the guy. I'll host Thanksgiving. Problem was he was working for Walmart, and he was living in Arkansas. So for a while, our family was just kind of in disarray around Thanksgiving. We're like, what do we do? Dad's not here. What do we do? Well, Tony's hosting in Arkansas. We kept going to Arkansas.
I have a question right quick.
Yeah.
You just implied that in that time period, Tony was further along in his career than you were. So here we are 16 to 17 years later. Have you caught up?
No.
Okay.
Still not caught up. No.
Hey, the future's unwritten, man. You still got a chance.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it should be good.
Thank you. So my brother Tony is wildly successful. My brother Jonathan, wildly successful. But I'm the black sheep. I can tell you more about that momentarily. But Tony picked things up for our family. He would I imagine everybody here, you have plans for Thanksgiving. Someone's hosting, or you're going to someone's house and they're hosting, and there's drama involved in all of it. But I was talking to my brother Tony, and I said, this was in, around, October 2010.
There's no way you were planning for Thanksgiving in October. This is early November.
Okay, yeah. So probably early November. He said, hey, are you guys coming up for Thanksgiving? And I was feeling it myself. I was like, you know what? Skin and I, our show's doing great. I'm here domesticated. I'm raising a family.
You got your wife pregnant for a third time by
Things
accident?
are going well. I was like, you know what? I'm going to big boy this thing. I'm like, hey, you know what, Tony? We'll host this year. And I just remember him going, oh, really? And he was, oh, okay, great. Absolutely. We'll come to Dallas for that. We'll come, in town for you to host.
He was immediately skeptical. Now, there's one other sort of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, not trying to shock you, incestuous part of this thing. Mine and Ben's family are very intertwined, besides the fact that me and Ben are really good friends. His older brother, Tony, is the same age as my older sister, Gretchen. My older sister, Gretchen, married their Mike Reif that lived one block over, so you guys grew up with the Reif family. So there's all these different ways in which our families are intertwined, and all of our older siblings are very successful, very smart people, and they've always been a little bit concerned about me and you.
Oh, my God, so much so.
They've always been like, oh, that's a nice dream you have. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and if you really look at it, so you go a little further back in the time machine to why this was such a substantial moment. You might be thinking of your own siblings, and it's not any big deal for one of you to say, hey, I'll host this year. You hosted last year. I'll host next year. It's a big deal for me to say I'll host, and here's why. So now you got to go a little further back to what he was just saying. Like, I am the absolute black sheep. Are you a black sheep too? You're an impressive black sheep. You're just a sheep, maybe. I don't know.
I'm just a sheep. We only have 2 in our family.
Right.
So I'm just the second one.
But you're not, I dropped out of college to be a rapper, and it wasn't that much of a surprise to people.
Yeah.
You dropped out of college to be a rapper, and they're like, you could have been a doctor.
Yeah, but I wanted to be a doctor rapper. But the other thing is our family is accustomed to you and I sitting on the couch for Thanksgiving and doing nothing but eating.
That's right.
We've never done anything productive on a Thanksgiving ever.
And you have to, with a tiny family, you have to understand the family dynamic. Black sheep situation. My brothers were straight A students, president of the student council, got their degrees, got their master's degrees, president of the college that they went to, that type of stuff. And I was like, C student, questionable if I'll graduate. Oh, look at this. He's dropping out of junior college to be a rapper.
You know, honestly and truly, the most notable thing that Ben did in high school was go to the library and rip pages out of magazines that had been cataloged and make flyers out of them. Is that accurate?
That's fair. We had a basketball team. See, this is why you got to hear the story every year. It goes in areas. This is the 14th year telling it. We've never told this. We had a recreational basketball team called the Pelicans, and it was all rejects, either guys who weren't on the high school basketball team. This is in high school.
Yep.
Or guys who played other sports, or just whatever, people who love basketball.
Or guys who had drug problems.
Yes. And so we would put out flyers for our games, but this is before Photoshop. And so if I wanted to put Skin's head on the body of like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I had to like take it from a magazine in the library.
Oh, here's a rare picture of Kareem from a Sports Illustrated in 1975. Rip. I'll
So
tape
bad.
this head on it.
So bad. But we made newsletters. I made newsletters like that, and it was creative outlet or whatever we promoted. But yeah, that's
and a fun high school Thanksgiving tie-in. Back then, you would have off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday the week of Thanksgiving. Now I think they get the whole week off because kids don't work hard anymore. But the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, our senior year, we had an event called Super Tuesday in honor of the elections, and it was a drinking event. And
Yes.
you made the flyer for the event.
Yes.
And our basketball coach got the flyer and walked into the locker room and was like, what are you guys planning on doing this Tuesday evening? Why would you make a flyer for a drinking event when you're 17?
It's funny. One of my son's friends was having a party in Light Farms, not far from here. And the kid put it on social media that he was having a party. And he was like, bring alcohol. And he had emojis for drugs. And I was like, what a fucking idiot. And then I was like, oh, yeah, God, I did that.
That kid is stupid. You're supposed to make a flyer.
Anyway, so you're getting a little bit of a glimpse between to see what my shady history was like.
Yeah, this is what makes us great.
So my brothers were all-stars. I was questionable. We lost our dad. My other brother had hosted for like 4 years straight. But somehow, at some point along the way, I got serious. I went and got my degree. Kat and I both graduated from the University of North Texas.
Oh.
I graduated 10 years after high school. You too, right? 10, 11?
Like 11 or 12, yeah.
11, 12. And we finally graduated, got serious, and I got a job selling TV advertising, and I loved it. Like, I freaking loved it.
And he was really good at it. He was really, really good. Very successful, both in his field by people that he worked with, as well as financially. You were doing so well. Didn't you buy a shark?
So this is one of my favorite stories. So we had been poor for so long because we were trying to make it as rappers, and it wasn't going anywhere. And so we were broke all the time. And as you pointed out, it turns out you don't have to drop out of college and don't have to be broke to chase a musical dream.
Had we known earlier, we could have continued to go to college and made music that no one would hear.
Right. We could have just kept working hard, but we had to not work and make music.
Right.
And so that's kind of the situation that was happening. And so we were poor for so long. When I got my first job selling advertising, like, I loved it. I loved it, selling television advertising, and I started doing pretty well at it. And suddenly, before we had kids, I had disposable income.
Right.
I didn't know what to do with it.
I don't know the exact payment, but you had the most obnoxious Lexus lease anyone had ever had.
I had a Lexus lease, and this was, like 2003 or something?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
It was $890 a month for a lease. Like, it's so ill-advised. It was like the fuckery I had shown when I didn't have my stuff together continued when I did have it together.
Which is why your older brother doubted that you could pull a Thanksgiving off.
Exactly. But the shark was the dumbest purchase I ever made. I bought a saltwater aquarium, and I had it at the house, and I was like, man, this is amazing, saltwater aquarium. And, it's got, you're sitting there looking at it, it's beautiful, and then you're like, man, I'm kind of bored of this. I need to go buy new fish. I need to go buy new fish. I need to go buy new fish. And you go buy a $25, $35, $45 fish, and eventually you've got this whole little ecosystem. And then one day I went to the aquarium store and I was like, oh shit, can I buy a shark? And it was in this tank with like one small rock and nothing but water. And he was like, yeah, dude, look at that shark. It's got a big head, tiny body. Yeah, you can buy that shark. I'm like, all right, cool. I need that shark for my aquarium to make my aquarium interesting again.
He was like, are you the guy in that Lexus out there? You know, you could use a shark.
So the shark, the aquarium was cool as shit. I loved it. But that shark would hide all day long. And I never saw it. So I'd be like, go, hey, man, I got a shark. Let's go look at it. And you can't even see it. It's like there's rocks and shit. You can't even see it. And then every night when you go to bed, that shark would eat one of those $35 fish. And eventually the only
You
thing
created a saltwater Nick and Sam's for that shark.
Eventually, it was just that giant-headed tiny shark and nothing else in my aquarium, and I never got to see it or enjoy it. So I was still making bad decisions, but
they were fun.
But they were fun, bad decisions.
Yep.
But Skin and I had a chance to go full-time in radio. Was that 2008?
2008. August of 2008, we took a job at Live 105, and Ben took a salary pay cut that cut his salary in half.
Yeah, it was brutal.
How did that sound, Kat? Was that a pretty good thing for you? Yeah.
So it was 2008.
Were the kids into that, or were they too young and crying to understand what Dad was doing?
Okay, so think about that. I went to Kat when we had kids who were 3 and 1 and said, I'm going to take a $100,000 pay cut. $100,000 pay cut with kids who are 3 and 1.
And I went to my wife and said, I'm about to triple my salary. If I can just talk Ben into this shit, we'll be great.
But we went for it, man, and I'm super proud of us for going. It worked out, right?
I'm proud of you.
Hey, it worked out.
Yeah,
it worked out. So I say all of that to say, you should probably understand one more thing. It was our senior year in high school. Skin and I have been friends since we were 12. Our senior year of high school, Berkner High School, 1989, the Richardson Independent School District had a rule that year where you could miss as many days of class as you wanted to as long as you had an excused absence. We found out what document they were going to be using in the office to verify the signature on the excused absences, and we forged that. So then we forged all the excused absences that we had over the course of that year. First of all, Berkner got rid of that program after 1 year.
It was honestly, truly 1 year. The year of 88, 89 was the only year they had it.
So I think I missed 72 days. You missed 75 days.
I went in and did the math. I averaged going to school 3 days a week.
But we would go in and make newsletters or just go to every lunch or goof off. We were at school, so our parents would never know, and we had excused absences. And so when it finally came down, and by the way, he graduated with honors. He missed 75 days and graduated with honors.
Shout out to the school district.
I missed all those days, and it was really questionable whether I would graduate. And
it was like a flight home from Oklahoma City, white-knuckling it the whole time, right there in the tornado zone.
We've taken you on some time traveling. You've gone back, and you've seen that my brothers are rock stars, I'm a mess, and you move forward to where I kind of figured it out, but I bought a shark. And then I left that high-paying job to bet on us making it in radio. And here we are in 2010. We've now been on the radio for a couple years, and this is already our second radio station.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's our second radio station. We didn't know we were going to have 4 more in the next couple years, but that's the way it goes.
So I tell my brother on the phone, hey, man, I'd like to host Thanksgiving. Let's do it at our house this year. And he was amused by that, and now y'all understand why he was amused by that. But he was in, and I was confident. I was proud, but I had not checked with Kat. And I came home, and I'm such an idiot. I wasn't even thinking. Our kids were 5 and 3, and she was 8.5 months pregnant. And I go, Kat, hey, great news. We're hosting Thanksgiving this year.
And?
She stared laser beams through my soul. She's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I was like, I told Tony we'd host this year. We don't have to go to Arkansas.
What a great thing for you. I hope you love cooking sides and turkey.
And so I was a complete idiot. I was like, oh, shit, right. This is bad, right? Okay, okay, this is not good. And she was like, no, it's fine. Like, we'll figure this out. And this is where you have to understand Kat. My wife, Kat, is amazing. Like, she's the best thing about my whole life.
This sounds like a preface.
She's a much better thing in my life than Skin. The two things that are most constant. She's way better than him. And so she is. She came from a family in Oklahoma that, a single mother raising 3 kids. Her mother was a straight up badass. Kat's tough. She is so frugal. And it's awesome because if she wasn't frugal, we would be bankrupt right now.
You would have multiple sharks. Kat's actually the only lady to ever make it out of Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah. And so Kat, this is what piqued her fancy. If you know Kat, then you know, sure, she knew I was an idiot. She knew that I had overcommitted us. She knew it was a burden to her being 8.5 months pregnant, now hosting Thanksgiving for both my brothers, their families, and my mom. But Kat is a badass, and Kat is frugal. And Kat had seen a Groupon on some Ellen special where you can have Ellen's personal gourmet chef host your Thanksgiving and cater it for some incredible bargain.
This sounds perfectly feasible. Why wouldn't you have Ellen's personal chef at your house to make Thanksgiving? That seems completely legit.
Right. And so me thinking immediately, there's no way that's real, I also was in a bind because it was my terrible idea. So I was like, you know what? Let's see this through. Okay, Ellen's personal chef, catered meal for up to 14, 16 people. It's super cheap.
Yeah.
So like the challenge of it all for her was what engaged her personality.
Yeah, the idea of, all right, Ben's put me in a horrible position, but here's a unique opportunity to save a little money and have a famous chef make us Thanksgiving dinner.
Right. So basically you fast forward, we decide to bet on that. Now, keep in mind, our only other experience with Kat and finding great deals on Groupon was a bunch of couples in our neighborhood. We were going to go out and look at Christmas lights, right? It was in December. And we're like, hey, let's rent a party limo bus. It'll come to our house. We'll pick up like 6 or 8 couples, and we'll all go look at Christmas lights in Highland Park together and get drunk, and we don't have to drive, and there's a bus driver, and it's a limo bus.
That sounds like a hell of a time. What did that cost?
I think it was $39.
That sounds perfectly reasonable.
And when they showed up, it was a Lincoln Town car with like missing the hubcaps. I was like, I think 2 of us can fit in that. And so like we had a bad experience with Groupon, but we decided to look past that and think maybe this actually could work out.
I don't even know, does Groupon still exist? All right.
It does? Oh my God.
Are you guys having Thanksgiving with it this year? No? Maybe?
So we just kind of filed it away. Everybody made plans. My brother and his family were going to come in from Arkansas. My mom would come down the street, come to our house. My other brother would come to our house, and we would host Thanksgiving at our house with my 8.5-month-old pregnant wife, being the hero, saving the day, kicking ass as she always does. It's what she does. So.
And the boys are what, like 5 and 3 or something like that?
5 and 3.
Something, yeah.
5 and 3.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of work.
By the way, I'll give you one more snapshot of our lives at that time. I came home from work one day, and Kat was doing the dishes, and Miles, our 3-year-old, was walking by, and I was like, hey, honey, I noticed she had the dishwasher open. I didn't even know how to open it, and she was getting ready to put all the stuff up in the pantry or whatever, and in the cabinets. And I saw the biggest butcher's knife I've ever seen. And I go, hey, don't you want to get that butcher's knife first? Because Miles is like running around, right all around. She goes, I'm here with them every day, and you're not.
Why are you criticizing
Why are you critiquing the way I'm doing this?
Go do your radio show.
Yeah, she's like, I got this. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, my bad. I'm so sorry I did that. And then like 3 seconds later, Miles ran through the living room with the biggest butcher's knife. It was like bigger than him, and he's running with it. I'm like, so that was our. That's
it was the poster of Child's Play.
Yeah, that's a snapshot of our life in this window. And so, anyways, as you guys are probably going to do for Thanksgiving, you're having cocktails and stuff at the house, and this is the night or the day before Thanksgiving. Family's in town, staying at the house, and we're having cocktails, and we're
Was
eating.
Thanksgiving on a Thursday this year?
This year, Thanksgiving fell on a Thursday.
All right, so that would have been a Wednesday.
And so we're there, having cocktails. It was so funny because this is the dumbest shit we ever did. me and my brothers were playing tackle football in our kitchen.
Adults.
I never told you that. Full-grown adults.
I've heard this part, yeah.
Okay, I don't know why we were playing tackle football. It's just we do stupid shit like that when we get together. So anyways, we were having so much fun, and we got a heads up, hey, your food's going to be ready tomorrow. Come to this address. And when Kat told me, she goes, hey, you're going to go pick up the food from this address tomorrow at Thanksgiving Eve. Okay, so this is the day before the day before.
Yeah.
You're going to go pick it up tomorrow on Wednesday at noon or whatever. And I was like, wait, it's not Ellen's chef coming to the house? And she goes, no, you go pick Ellen's chef prepared the food. You go pick it up and then bring it over to our house.
Right. Just because Ellen's chef can't be at every home in America on Thanksgiving Day. There's just too many people.
Still, she's 8.5 months pregnant. I'm like, man, this sounds great. Sounds great to me, honey. Awesome. I'll go get it. And so the next day, we're at the house. Everybody's drinking cocktails, having fun, eating food, ramping up to Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Eve. And I tell my brother, I'm like, hey, I got to go get the food. He's like, what do you mean? It's the day before Thanksgiving. I go, yeah, I got to go get it. They're not going to, Ellen's chef can't be at just what you just said.
Right.
And so he's
they
like,
cater it in advance, and you pick it up, and you bring it home, and then you heat it up.
We'll reheat it.
This is normal.
I go, I'll be right back. He goes, no. Do you mind if I go? I'm like, all right, you can come with me. So I'm like, okay. Kat gives me the address. I punch it in my phone. I'm like, where is this? And as we are on our way, Tony is doing detective work. He's asking me all these questions. And I'm like, he's poking a lot of good holes in this.
Because he knows the outcome before it happens.
And so we finally get to the address, and I'm like calling Kat. I'm like, hey, will you confirm this address? Because this is an office building. And it's not a restaurant or anything. And she was like, yeah, no, that's the right address. And I'm like...
Because, Ellen's chef rented some office space to prepare these meals.
I'm like, man, this doesn't seem right. It's on the 3rd floor of this office building. Like, what? And so Tony's having so much fun. He's laughing. And we start going up there, and we go get on the elevator. We come up. Now, the red flags start coming at me at a high velocity, if you hadn't already caught all the red flags. And I get off the elevator, and there's like a handwritten note for the company, and it was like handwritten. That, like, how you go to an office building, and you get off on the 3rd floor, and the name of the company is right there outside the elevator bank. This one was handwritten and taped.
Was it good tape?
And I was like, okay, that's weird. And it was like pointed this way for turkeys. And I'm like, okay. And I get to a receptionist area, and I'm like, I can't even talk to the receptionist because she's buried in the weeds. There's like 10 people, and they're angry, and they're all yelling, and they're like, hey, da-da-da, you promised me this. And she's like, I don't know.
What that tells me is that the Ellen Show is doing well in the North Dallas area.
I was like, so I fancy myself as being a human whisperer.
Yeah.
So, is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you how many times something shitty has happened. We're on the road. It looks like we're going to be sleeping in an alley. And then Ben goes to work. And then 30 minutes later, we have a penthouse suite. It's a gift. It's an unbelievable gift. Hey, man, everything's going haywire. Don't worry, I have this. Do you have a TV in the mirror of your bathroom? Because that's what I had them promise me. It's worked out 1,000,000 times before.
So I wait for the panic around the receptionist to die, and I try to human whisper her. And I go in, and I was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry you're dealing with all these people acting like this. This is wrong. I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this.
Hey, girl. You look tired.
And so she was like, thank you so much for saying that. That's so nice of you to say that. I was like, yeah, tell me what's going on here. She was like, this is chaos. I've never seen anything like this. I go, how long have you been at this company? She was like, this is my first day.
Group on Thanksgiving.
Oh, my God. Anyway, I somehow talked her into getting past the receptionist area. She goes, look, and Kat must have bought I don't know if it's called the premium package or the platinum package or
prestige
package or something. She bought that, and so she bought the most expensive package, and so she was like, okay, you have that package. You can go in that conference room. So they send us to this conference room, and I go in the conference room, and there's like 8 other people in that conference room, and they're all on the phone calling their loved ones going, hey, I don't think we're going to have food for Thanksgiving.
Don't worry, it's Wednesday.
So the manager comes in, and I start talking to the manager, and I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to human whisper her. And I may have embellished a little bit about what we do on the radio with regard to Ellen. And
did you tell her you were Kid Craddock?
I don't like to play this card a lot, but I was like, we've been talking about this on the radio.
Nonstop. It's all we've been talking about. During football season is this Thanksgiving dinner with Ellen. Every segment.
So she goes, look, I can understand that. She was like, I could see this is an important deal. She goes, look, I'll take your name. I'll put you on a short list. I can't promise anything.
Did you tell her you know Dale Hansen?
She goes, you need to know that our truck was in a horrible wreck on the highway.
Oh, it's horrible.
And I was like, oh, my God, an 18-wheeler, that sounds like a horrible wreck. I can't imagine how bad that was. She goes, it's right outside. I was like, they towed the 18-wheeler here? I'm like, what? She goes, look, you can see it because we were on the third floor. She goes, it's right there. I'm not lying to you. And it wasn't an 18-wheeler. It was just like a Ford F-150.
Was it a King Cab edition?
And it wasn't a catering truck. It was just a pickup truck that had gone to Costco. And in the back, there was all this food that was going bad because it was just in the sun and not refrigerated. And it was just boxes of food from Costco. There was nothing specially catered by anybody. And I'm just looking out there going, oh, my God. And I look over at Tony, and he's having so much fun. He's just having a great time, sipping his cocktail. He's like, I can't wait to see where this goes. And so I played the magical radio card, and she was like, okay, look, you bought the premium prestige package or whatever, and I know this.
And hold on, keep in mind, this was before YouTube, so radio was a big deal. Radio actually mattered back then.
She kind of pulled me aside. It's been so long, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it gave me the impression that I got you. I can't hook up all 1,000 people that we screwed over, but maybe 100 people, whatever.
Yeah.
A small percentage of these people are going to be okay. I'm like, man, all right, that's great. I appreciate it.
You're on ESPN. Are you Dan Patrick?
And so she said it started getting real covert at that point because only a certain amount of people were going to get hooked up. And I felt guilty about that.
No, you did not.
But at the same time, I didn't.
Yep.
And so she said, hey, look, I'm going to text you. If I can hook this up, I'm going to text you an address. You show up at that address. They'll have your stuff for you. You bought all the people that bought the prestige package are going to still be taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm pretty optimistic at that point. My brother is not. And so we go back home, and Kat goes, did you get it? And Tony takes over. He's like, no, we didn't get it. And I don't think we're ever going to get it. And I think we probably should come up with a plan B. And Kat, to her credit, 8.5 months pregnant, she came up with a plan B, and she called Furr's Cafeteria, which was still in business, and they catered it, and she got it for our whole family, so she got Thanksgiving covered. It was a miracle. And so the next day, after Kat saved the day, I got the call saying, hey, SoCover's like, your food's ready to be picked up.
Oh.
I'm like, are people monitoring the phone lines? Why you need to come get?
And this is back in the day when you would answer your phone.
Right.
Totally different era. The phone rings, you answer it.
So at this point, we already have Thanksgiving covered because Kat worked her magic. And so I'm telling the lady on the phone, I don't think we need to cut. And my brother cuts me off. Tony cuts me off. He goes, no. We're going. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll come up there. Tell me the address, and I'm writing it down. We'll go there. Okay. And we start heading over there. And, he grabs a cocktail, of course, because he's having the time of his life.
Yeah, and he put his cocktail in a red Solo cup, yes. Much like this one.
Yes, much like that commemorative one you can buy from the bar. And he puts it in a red Solo cup, and, we head over there. And I'm like, wait a second, they're taking us to a different address here. This is not the same building. And it took us to an Uncle Julio's.
Are you guys familiar with the North Dallas corridor along the tollway? You guys know that Uncle Julio's over there right off the tollway? It's on the east side. That's the parking lot where Ben is headed to get his Thanksgiving feast.
I think I was fired from that Uncle Julio's once. and we pulled in there, and I'm like, it's Thanksgiving Day. Parking lot's empty. I'm like, dude, this is a hoax. This is fake. There's no one here. I do a loop around the parking lot. I'm like, let's bounce. We already got Thanksgiving covered. Cat saved the day. And he goes, no, my brother. He's like, no, let's check the whole parking lot. And I'm like, he's having so much fun. And keep in mind, he drove in from Arkansas for me to host Thanksgiving for the first time after being a career fuck-up.
Because he wanted to drive in from Rogers, Arkansas to eat Ellen's personal chef's turkey dinner.
So we're like, dude, there's a truck over there, but it's just like a Chevy Silverado. There's only like one truck in the whole parking lot. That's clearly not it. He goes, let's go get a closer look. So I'm like, it might be an abandoned truck. It didn't look brand new or anything, and I don't know if anybody's in it or whatever. Let's just get out of here. No, let's go over there. So we go over there, and there is a massive man in the driver's seat, a giant man. And I always describe him as, did y'all see Breaking Bad? So he looked like the character Huel.
Yes.
And who is Huel in that?
Huel is probably season 4. He's the guy that hangs out with the Bill Burr character. Giant black dude, and his body is so big, his head looks like a tiny cone on top of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because he's a gigantic dude. I forgot his real name, but he's a funny stand-up comedian, too. He's the guy that makes Eggs Tyrone on Workaholics.
Yes. So we pull up, and I'm like, could that be him? I don't know. And Tony's like, yeah, that's probably him. And this guy gets out of that truck, and it was like the truck was on hydraulics. The weight of his body leaving, it was like, the whole thing was like bouncing and boogieing, dude. It's like, and he walked up to our car with a clipboard like it was the most important transaction in human history. So Giant Huel comes up to the car, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, what are you guys here for? And we're like, well, we're here because to pick up our food for Thanksgiving. He's like, okay, that checks out. What is your name? And we give him our name, and he's going up and down the list. He's like, no, I don't see it. And I was like, okay, thanks, we're out of here. And my brother goes, no. Check it again. We had the prestige package.
Maybe you're looking on the wrong sheet.
And he was like, raised his eyebrow, like, the prestige package. Oh, okay, you guys paid top dollar.
These guys are a big deal.
To the back page, and it's like handwritten in beneath the typed names. It said Ben Rogers on there, and we were on there. And he goes, okay, I got you right here, the prestige package. And we're like, okay, great. He goes, okay, looks like you guys have green beans. Let me go get that. He goes again to the back of his Chevy Silverado pickup truck. It's all Costco food, and it's all in the back of a pickup. It's not even being refrigerated.
That's okay, though. It's the day of Thanksgiving. They should be good.
It should be good. So he's just getting like one big box. Here's an apple pie. Here's some green beans. Here's some sweet potatoes. Here's some mashed potatoes. And he's just like bringing it over to the car. And my brother's like having the time of his life. He's like, oh, this is amazing. Yep, we had that.
Ben, did they get the mac and cheese? I'm sure we had that. We had the prestige package.
So finally, I'm like ready to leave. And I'm like, okay, great. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Because keep in mind, Kat already has Thanksgiving covered at the house. I don't even know what we're going to do with this food.
This is really just an exercise in you getting your nuts kicked in.
I'm just getting my nuts kicked. It's like like a boxer with a speed bag. Just the whole time. My nuts are a piñata. And basically, he comes over, and I'm like, okay, good, thanks, we're good. And Huel's like, no, you didn't get the bird yet. And I'm like, yeah, we did order the bird. And
I mean, it's Thanksgiving. Why wouldn't you get the bird, Ben?
He goes, hold up. And he went back to the truck to get the bird. And the turkeys were not in the bed of the truck. The turkeys were being kept in small white trash compactor bags in the front seat. And I don't know if that was because he had extra AC on him. I don't understand that part, why. But he brought it over to the car like he was bringing us $1 million, handing us this turkey to save our Thanksgiving in a trash bag.
Yeah. A magical trash bag because it's got the bird in it.
Somebody had cooked it somewhere.
Now, did you open it up and look inside and see the bird?
Now, we did later. I'll fast forward later in the story because I took it outside to throw it away. Because I peeked in at it, and it didn't look right. It looked like a vulture that had been electrocuted. and somebody maybe boiled it. Like I could see all the veins through the skin. It was like it did not look like a healthy turkey.
And wasn't it half alive? No.
So, anyways, that thing was nasty. It was so bad I didn't even want it in my garage. I took it all the way out to the alley. So, anyways, at this point, I'm like ready to go. I'm as humiliated as I could possibly be. I'm ready to go get on with Thanksgiving. My brother is so entertained. He's having the time of his life, sipping cocktails out of his red Solo cup. And finally, Huel comes back to the car. He goes, whoa, 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 before you go, don't you want the gravy?
What is Thanksgiving without the gravy, I ask you?
And Tony's like, I believe that comes on the prestige package. Oh, God, this won't end. It will not end. And like they make eye contact for a second, like the discernible Thanksgiving eater. We ordered the prestige package. He's like, I see you. Well done. And only the finer things for you.
You're living large.
So he's like, here's the problem, though. Do you have a container?
Why wouldn't you show up to pick up your Thanksgiving dinner with your own container for the gravy? Everyone does that.
Why would you? Yeah. We don't drive around with a gravy boat.
I mean, I would, but I'm prepared for all Thanksgiving shenanigans.
So I'm like, I'm trying to speed through this going, wait a second, he's got gravy somewhere that's freestanding, that's not in individual containers. So I'm like, no, we're good. We don't need the gravy. I don't have a container. And my brother goes, hold on. And he looks at his red Solo cup, and he dumps his cocktail out the side of the passenger window. He's like, here you go. You can put it in this. And I'm telling you, man, I'll never forget this moment as long as I live. Like, this giant human man, and there's some sort of chemistry happening here between him and Tony, where there's something magical happening.
They actually vacation together now every summer. It's unbelievable.
Tony is entertained, and Huel is like thinking he is hooking us up with the greatest thing ever.
What a guy.
He goes, I'll try to do my Huel voice, but basically he's holding this red Solo cup, and he had gone to the front of the truck where the VIP stuff was. That's where the turkeys were in the trash bags. And he had the biggest industrial-sized Kool-Aid pitcher I've ever seen. You know, I know everybody's had Kool-Aid before, but have you ever had Kool-Aid out of such a big pitcher that you hold it with one hand, you're like, damn. It's like your muscles are bulging in your forearm. You can see your veins. You're like, God, that's a heavy pitcher, and like maybe double-hand it.
And on top of that, have you ever had it served to you by the actual Kool-Aid man?
So this guy is like, he's got the and it's really, it's a touch of class because the top of this, blue giant industrial Kool-Aid pitcher is covered in foil.
Because you want to make sure that you keep it at the right temperature for consumption later.
He's got that thing like in the side seat next to him. It's like, well, I don't
riding shotgun.
I don't
the
understand.
gravy is in a Kool-Aid pitcher with foil on top of it, riding shotgun in a Chevy Silverado.
So you got to keep in mind, like, here we are still in our car. We have not gotten out of our car. This is curbside service. And he starts pouring the gravy out of that Kool-Aid pitcher into this tiny red Solo cup.
Pretty smooth gravy?
It was the grossest thing ever, man. It was like thump, 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 thump. It was like, I heard a fart sound. I was like, was that him? Was that the gravy? Like, I don't know.
Part liquid, part solid.
I mean, it's happening in slow motion. But the thing is, I'm picking up my brother's facial expression and Huel's. And my brother's looking at it like... My brother's looking at it like CeeDee Lamb is running in for a touchdown in slow motion going, yeah! And Huel is pouring it in there like, this is the best shit ever. And I'm going, no! And I don't know why, but Huel decided to put just an extra cherry on top, touch of class, and just to make the whole experience be first rate in every way. He looked at us as he's finishing topping off that gravy. He looks at us in the car and he says, oh, yeah, The gravy gonna set it off.
It was a Thanksgiving miracle like no other. And then Tony and Ben took that gravy home and they poured it on all of their food.